So today I want to talk about the reasons to not circumcise as well as the benefits of the foreskin. So I have seen people talk about the 16 functions of the foreskin, and someone asked me to talk about those. So I'm not going to address each one individually at this point, but when I look at them, I feel like some of those reasons are kind of saying the same thing from a slightly different aspect. Some of them seem to be a little far-fetched, such as preventing frostbite or preventing sunburn on the glands of the penis. So what I did is I read through that list, and then I've looked at everything that I've studied and I've talked about, and I've tried to condense things into 7 big reasons that I say are both reasons not to circumcise as well as benefits or functions of the foreskin. So, first of all, number 1, the foreskin belongs to the man or boy himself, not his parents, not the medical community, not anyone else. It is completely unethical to remove a healthy body part without the consent of that person himself. Number 2, the penis is designed to function with foreskin. Therefore, no matter how great someone thinks their penis works, or how great the sex is, or any of the other reasons they give, it's not working as perfectly as it would if the foreskin had been left where it belongs. Foreskin is there and it's designed to work with foreskin. Therefore, if you remove a part, it's not going to work quite as well. No matter how great it may still work. Period. Number 3, the foreskin protects the glands of the penis. It prevents the keratinization of the head, as well as scrapes, abrasions, anything else. It also provides the proper environment for the head of the penis. This keeps the head soft, moist, basically all that sensitivity that it's supposed to have is kept intact. Number 4 kind of goes along with number 3, is that since the foreskin is not supposed to be retractable for children and up to, of various ages, usually in the teenage years, it not only does it protect the inside of the foreskin, but also the glands from bacteria and other harmful substances. These protections are removed when people either circumcise or when they practice improper care. That improper care involves when they think they need to pull that foreskin back to clean it and they force it back, or they just do it when it's not really ready to go on its own. No one should pull back the foreskin except the person to whom it belongs when he has become ready to do so. And in a child, that's usually not the case. So therefore, it's improper care and circumcision that cause a lot of the problems, not the foreskin. Number 5, the foreskin provides much pleasure for sexual activities for both partners. That's not only the guy himself, but also the other person. It also provides sensitivity and pleasure to the individual, whether he is alone or with someone else. There are many nerves in the foreskin, and that greatly enhances the experience. Number 6, there is no medical benefit to circumcision. This is backed up both by science and by statistics. All the claims of it reducing various diseases, HIV, STDs, you name it. You look at countries where circumcision is not very common, their rates are no higher, and sometimes they're actually lower than in the United States or various other countries that are very high circumcision rates. The foreskin is not the culprit. There is no medical benefit to circumcision. And so the penis, as designed, is going to be the healthiest penis. That's how it's made to be. It's meant to protect itself. It's meant to function that way. And so that is going to be the healthiest way to be. Number 7, aesthetic appeal. A penis covered in foreskin is a thing of beauty, and it looks extremely attractive. It looks natural and healthy. It's only in circumcising cultures where people seem to have a problem with how a foreskin looks on the penis. This is likely because they're not used to seeing it. Anything that's new or different, people often tend to categorize as odd, or they don't like it, or whatever. This also, there's that, in circumcising cultures, there's that bias that has creeped in, that it's not attractive, that it's dirty, unhygienic, all these other myths. But these things seep into our consciousness without us being really aware of that being the case. And often that is translated into what we find attractive or not attractive. You could take the same case like in art. Certain cultures might find a certain style of art to be very appealing, and that is kind of the general trend that art goes in that country or that region. Another country across the world maybe doesn't find that type of art or architecture, whatever it might be, doesn't find it as attractive because it's not what they're used to. It doesn't speak to them in the same way because it's speaking from a different culture. So this idea of this foreskin being ugly or unappealing can sometimes come from a sense of it's not what is familiar to them. So those are the 7 reasons / benefits. So I'm going to call this the benefits of the foreskin / reasons not to circumcise. Because I think those are really closely intertwined. So this is not to say that there's not validity in those 16 functions that's in that list that people talk about a lot. But I think you can group them into some much more meaningful reasons that people can get behind. Because basically when you look at the reasons that I have given, the first one comes from ethics, second one comes from physiology, as does the third and fourth. The fifth comes from sexual pleasure. The sixth, again, comes from medical or basically physiology, once again, physiology, anatomy. And then aesthetic appeal, that comes from beauty or attraction. So they come from some very broad reasons, and there's some specific details with each one that I think everyone can, if they're honest with themselves, will see the validity of each and every one of these reasons. And again, that's where it takes time and effort to get people to be honest with themselves. Something that they've grown up learning or thinking or believing. It can be very hard to overcome those things. This is how we've always done it argument is very powerful with some people. And it takes a real intellectual honesty to be open to that new information in order to grow and progress and realize that what they've always thought or were taught is not actually correct. And it takes that into intellectual honesty to really kind of acknowledge this fact. And they have to acknowledge it internally and get comfortable with that thought internally before they can actually admit it to others. So hopefully these 7 reasons can be spread, and hopefully people will kind of get to understand why I am basing my thoughts and my teaching on this topic with these 7 reasons. If we wanted to add, something else, it's, and this is not a reason for anyone else, but again, I'm not circumcised and I love it. But it's for all of these 7 reasons. So, have a great day. I'll post again soon.